Marrying a man after knowing him for 72 days, to dating someone who tattooed her name on his body after like 3 weeks, to a relationship that ended with police lights instead of paparazzi flashes. Kim Kardashian, Ariana Grande, Rihanna. This is the side of fame where fairy tales come with expiration dates and nobody warns you on the way in. Kim first, because Kim is where you have to start. Reality TV royalty, billion-dollar empire, the woman who turned being famous into an actual business model. And then she met Chris Humphries, NBA player, decent enough guy, and things moved fast. Engagement after 6 months, wedding watched by millions. The whole thing looked like a finale to a very expensive romantic comedy, and then 72 days later, she filed for divorce. 72 days. And the real twist is she later admitted she knew it was wrong during the honeymoon and still said nothing. The internet was not kind about this one. Their marriage length became a punchline that honestly still gets used today. But just when everyone thought that was peak chaos, the next story walked in and said, "Hold my champagne." Because Ariana Grande and Pete Davidson happened, and it happened so fast it gave people whiplash. Comedian, tattoo enthusiast, big energy. They met, they clicked, they got engaged after what felt like maybe 3 weeks, and Pete didn't just get one tattoo, he got multiple. One even covered half his neck, which some people called romantic and others called a cry for help. And the thing fans kept pointing out was these two barely knew each other's daily habits before they were planning a whole lifetime together. The engagement lasted 5 months, but the tattoos lasted longer, and the laser bill outlived the relationship. And the lesson there is simple: love fades, but laser is forever. And if impulsive love sounds wild, wait till it turns into something the whole world couldn't look away from. Because Rihanna and Chris Brown in 2008 looked like pop royalty merging empires, two young global superstars at the absolute peak of everything. And then 2009 happened. What surfaced wasn't a breakup rumor, it was a police report, a court case, a photograph that the whole world saw. The shockwave was immediate. Brown pled guilty to felony assault, career fallout followed, and public perception shifted overnight. And Rihanna did something that honestly still deserves more credit than it gets. She rebuilt everything quietly and with an almost terrifying level of grace. That chapter became the cautionary tale people whisper every single time fame and romance get too close to each other. But history wasn't done queuing up lessons. Jennifer Lopez, triple threat legend. Enter Ben Affleck, early 2000s. And Bennifer wasn't just a relationship, it was a cultural event. The nickname alone was everywhere. Paparazzi camped outside their lives like they were shooting a reality show nobody commissioned. Engagement announced, wedding planned, then postponed, then canceled. They later admitted the relentless media pressure is what cracked it, which is almost poetic because the attention they got was partly because they were so magnetic together anyway. And then the plot twist inside the plot twist. Nearly 2 decades later, they found each other again, married quietly, and made everyone who'd written them off look slightly ridiculous. So yes, timing sometimes matters more than chemistry, but not everyone gets that second act. Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber is basically a TV show that ran too many seasons. They dated, broke up, got back together, broke up again, got back together again, broke up. And every single cycle produced chart-topping music on both sides, which means their heartbreak was literally funding the industry. Fans tracked their relationship timeline like it was appointment television. People argued online like they had personal stakes in the outcome. And imagine that. Imagine your most private, painful moments trending worldwide while strangers debate whose fault it was. Exhausting doesn't even cover it. And still, somehow, that's not the most accelerated love story on this list. because Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee met and were married within 4 days. 4 days! That's shorter than most free trials, shorter than some TV seasons, shorter than the time it takes most people to decide on a Netflix show. They got each other's names tattooed, moved at double speed on everything, and the whole relationship burned bright and chaotic and loud before eventually ending in divorce. It became legend specifically because nothing about it ever slowed down for even a second. And if speed was the issue, the next one rewrote what intensity even means. Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Thornton wore vials of each other's blood as necklaces on the red carpet. Actual blood, actual necklaces, actual red carpet. They married after dating for months. Public reaction was somewhere between fascination and genuine confusion, and 3 years later, it was over. Jolie later described that period as a little crazy, which is possibly the most understated sentence ever spoken about anything. But even that wasn't peak unpredictability on this list. Taylor Swift dated Tom Hiddleston, and within weeks there were paparazzi photos everywhere, which fine, that's normal. But then came the image that genuinely broke the internet. Him on a beach wearing an I Heart TS tank top, and the entire world stopped to debate whether that was romantic or staged for approximately 3 weeks. The relationship ended within months. The meme never died. Somewhere, a piece of cotton fabric still regrets all of its choices. Elizabeth Taylor had 8 marriages to 7 husbands, one of them twice. She didn't just date dramatically, she dated historically. Her relationships came with global headlines, major scandals, and cultural earthquakes. And she did all of this before social media existed. Imagine trending worldwide in an era without Wi-Fi. That's not just a love life, that's a legacy. Kylie Jenner and Tyga brought the whole thing into the influencer era, where every post, every like, every unfollow became breaking news. Fans played detective with emojis like forensic scientists, and the relationship pressure that came from millions of strangers analyzing their every move was something genuinely new, a level of scrutiny that didn't exist even 10 years earlier. They split, the internet moved on, but the dynamic they introduced didn't go anywhere. And then there's Britney Spears and Kevin Federline, which is maybe the most publicly documented romantic implosion in modern history. She was pop royalty, he was a backup dancer. They met, married within months, and then filmed a reality show about their relationship. Yes, they let cameras in. Yes, it aired. Yes, people watched. And what followed was a divorce, a custody battle, and a tabloid feeding frenzy so relentless it became its own industry. Their relationship didn't just end, it detonated in slow motion in front of everyone. And here's the thing sitting underneath all of it. The real pattern isn't the breakups, it's the speed. Celebrity relationships run on compression, intense schedules, constant travel, emotional highs that feel like weather events. And when you live like that, everything accelerates. Feelings hit harder, decisions come faster, and mistakes echo in ways that ordinary people never have to experience because they're not being photographed while making them. Quick chemistry, fast commitment, massive attention, sudden collapse, and then again and again and again, until you see it so clearly it almost feels inevitable. But maybe the most honest thing this whole list reveals is this. Fame doesn't ruin relationships, it just shows them to you faster. When the spotlight never goes off, masks don't last long. Cracks appear sooner, red flags wave bigger, and what might have taken years to surface in a quiet, ordinary life takes months, maybe weeks, when you're living it publicly. Some couples survive that, some don't, and maybe that's exactly why we can't stop watching. Not because we love chaos, but because underneath the designer outfits and the camera flashes, it's the same human story it's always been. Attraction, hope, bad timing, mistakes, regret, and sometimes, if you're lucky, growth. Strip away everything, and celebrity dating disasters look exactly like ordinary relationships, just louder, faster, and completely impossible to hide. Because love doesn't care about your follower count, your publicist, or your net worth. It just shows up, makes an absolute mess, and leaves you explaining it in interviews for the next decade. So which one felt doomed from the very first headline? Drop the name below, because your verdict might just open the next file. Stay fascinated by the fairy tales and the red carpets. Stay ready for the red flags and when it all falls apart, as we keep her files classified.